Do you ever forget why it is that you actually homeschool? Or maybe perhaps you're looking to homeschool for the first time and you're just not really sure if this is the right choice for your children and your family? Well, I'm excited to be sharing with you today a topic that should help you get through those initial thoughts and settle that foundation of why it is that you're choosing homeschool, and maybe even help you consider the Charlotte Mason way of homeschooling, which I believe to be the best way to educate. So let's get into today's topic. Feel free to say hello and interact while I get myself ready. So today's topic is our aim in education. All of us should be thinking about what it is that we want our children's education to look like, not just in the moment or for the year, but long term when we're looking all the way for their final education, when they're graduating and they're getting ready to start life as an adult. So there's a lot to be thinking about in this topic, and I hope you're getting ready to really dive into what Charlotte Mason felt our aim as an educator should look like. Hello, Lynn. Nice to have you here, and thank you for saying hello. Always love the interaction. This is going to be a really good topic, but let's get it started with one of my favorite things to share, and that's the Charlotte Mason quote. We wish to place before the children open doors to many avenues of instruction and delight, in each one of which he finds quickening thoughts. Sorry, I got a little distracted there. So this is our goal. This is our aim. We're going to put our children in front of a lot of open doors, and we'll know that those open doors of instruction and delight are working when we see those quickening thoughts. Now, you may have heard me teach last week. Last week, I shared about Charlotte Mason's liberal education and what that means. I got some actual emails and said, what do you mean by liberal education? I even had some people unsubscribe and let me know they unsubscribed. So I want to make sure that you understand a liberal education just means a big supply, a vast number of subjects. In fact, Charlotte Mason suggested 13 to 21 subjects, depending on the age and skill of your children. So when we look at what Charlotte Mason was saying about instruction and delight, she's speaking about that liberal education with those number of subjects, again, depending on the age and the skills. So let me find my notes here. All right, so in this quote, I'm going to pull it back up. There are two words or two parts that stick out to me. Number one is delight. Our children must delight in education. And the second part is the quickening thoughts. So we want this to be our aim in education, is to be able, that's to letting us know that our education is working. Is if we can see our children delighting in the lessons, as well as being able to see them having those quickening thoughts. So you might not know, maybe your children are balking at everything that you assign to them right now. Maybe they're showing themselves that they absolutely hate lessons. Maybe they don't want to homeschool. Maybe they just really dislike home education in itself. Well, that's because that delight's missing. So there's a lot that we can do in helping our children get there. But if you're not seeing those quickening thoughts, even though a child may delight in it, you need to have those two parts. Delight and the quickening thoughts. Okay, so hello, Elizabeth. Hello, Mary. Glad to have you guys here. Thank you for saying hello. So I have another quote as we're going to get started in this, and this is going to get us into what the aim of an education looks like. We cannot express a school to be manned by a dozen masterminds. And even if it were, the scholar were taught by each in turn, it would be much to his disadvantage, his meaning the student. What he wants of his teacher is moral and mental discipline, sympathy and direction, and it is better on the whole that the training of the pupil should be undertaken by one wise teacher. This is cutting it off. Let me see, it doesn't show it here either. Let me find my quote. by one wise teacher that he should be passed from hand to hand from this subject and that. So in what Charlotte Mason is saying in here is that a child should not have a number of masterminds of teachers being passed from one subject to the next. In fact, she starts our first aim of education to be the training of a pupil should be undertaken by one wise teacher. Now, before I get too far into this, I want to speak to what wise teacher means. Now, we as homeschooling moms often feel like we're not qualified. We don't have enough knowledge. We weren't straight A students and such like that. But here's the thing. I was a straight A student. I did very, very well in school. But when I started homeschooling our children, I was learning alongside them things that I never learned in school. So this way of education isn't, are you book smart? It's teaching you that desire to learn and to be that one that can actually ignite the excitement and to train a child in sympathy and in direction and be able to think about the moral, not just the academic of a child. A teacher who can prepare both a child's mind, but also their heart and their soul and their body for their education has done far more for them than just an academic teacher. So you want to be processing this, and don't sell yourself short, mama. Guess what? You want more for your children than anyone out there. So that qualifies you even more than anyone else. So Charlotte Mason says one wise teacher. Okay, that's so different from what we see in the school systems today. We really see students being passed from one teacher to another, one subject at a time. All right, so here is the second part. Education gives a full life. So what does that mean? Well, I kind of touched on it a little bit already. We're not just thinking the mind of a student, but the heart and the purpose and the habits, as well as the character and conduct of a child. It's a full life of education. It's not just in one avenue of the books. And so again, if we're seeing our children delighting and having those quick thoughts, then we'll know that our education is working. Okay, we're helping our children develop those necessary skills for self-management, self-direction, and self-education. And this is what I love about the Charlotte Mason method is that it does make your day smoother and easier because you're teaching your children not just to learn, but how to learn in a way that they're learning to manage themselves. So that when they get to the point where they're readers and writers, they are actually self-teaching. And it's a beautiful thing when you have it done. And in fact, our fourth child is about 90% self-educating. We have to get the writing underway this year, and then he should be, by seventh grade, he should be he's going into fifth. So by the end of sixth grade, he should be well on his way. So life should be all living and not merely a tedious passing of time, not all doing or all feeling or all thinking. The strain would be too great. And that's what children are right now. The strain of being in school all day and then coming home and or doing their homeschooling at night, their homework at night it's too daunting. It's too straining on them. So what does Charlotte Mason say about that? But all living. It needs to be all living. That is to say that we should be in touch wherever we go, whatever we hear, whatever we see, with some matter of vital interest. And here it is. When we are interested in something, we delight in it. And so that's what your education should be looking like as you're considering your children's education and you're getting that solid why behind what you do and the method in which you choose and the kind of education you deliver to your children. And here's the third part. Children are persons of mind and conscience. Think about it. When our babies are born, we see them absorbing so much so quickly. They know what kind of cry will get them what they want. They have these different ways of communicating with us, even without a voice, through their crying, right? So we know, oh, that's the crying. That's the crying for they're hungry. Oh, nope, that's the crying for when they need a diaper change. That's the cry when they're tired. That's the cry when they're gassy. We have all of those communications from a very new baby. They're born with a mind and the conscience. They're able to learn very quickly. In fact, we all through history, we have children 4 and 5 learning and showing their learning of things that we normally wouldn't require our children to master. So you want to realize from very early that we're underestimating our children. We assume our children can't learn things, but really they can. We're just undervaluing what their mind and their conscience can learn. So having that as your aim and knowing that you are going to put your children in a place where you put their education and their ability to match it there, and you're requiring more than you think they can do, because in the end, they're going to rise to that and do it. That's a beautiful thing about the Charlotte Mason way, is bringing that out in children. So the fourth part is our work. Our work, meaning teachers, as one wise teacher, is to give vitalizing ideas. We want them to be able to really have a whole feast of ideas from their curriculum. And ideas are those quickening thoughts and being able to be inspired by what it is that they're learning. When a child is learning about gravity, they're going to want to go and test that gravity, which one, the big ball or the small ball, which one's going to hit the earth faster. They're going to wonder, the egg drop, when they learn about physics and all of these things. Children get excited about what they learn when they're allowed to have those ideas and the processing to be able to see it in action. So let's get into the comments and see if you guys, yes, Mary, self-education is so possible, and it is something that you have to be diligent and very intentional about. It doesn't happen by accident. You have to be thinking, and that your aim, these 4 parts, and let me review them really quick. These 4 parts are, sorry, I'm finding it now, is to have the one wise teacher, and then education gives a full life. It's whatever we're doing, thinking, seeing, all of that. And children are persons of mind and conscience. Stop underestimating what your children can do. And then our work gives them those vitalizing ideas. These are key things that you're going to want to be doing in your children and in your education. And the more you do it, the more you're focused on it. One thing at a time will grow those habits of self-managing, self-directing, self-education. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yes, you are willing. And then because you're willing, you're going to do it because you see the desire in there. Hello, Street Rat. I think that's how you said you say your name. And Sarita. Nice to have you ladies here as well. I am so excited about this time of the year. I get so encouraged about the newness and the renewing of my dedication to this type of method of education. I mean, I've been doing it for 20 years and I'm fixing to plan our 21st year. And we already have some books coming in, and, math books should be here. And we have a few other books that have already been delivered. I get so excited about it because each year brings that next layer of one step closer to self-education. And like I said, our 5th grader going into 5th grade, he is about 90% self-educating. We just have to figure out this whole writing thing with him. Once he gets that done, he will be golden to be self-educating. And our children are always self-educated by middle school. And when I say middle school, at 7th grade, 7th and 8th grade is middle school to me, not 6th. So I just want to make sure I clarify that. Now I want to tell you about next week's, I didn't put it on here. Okay, I thought I did. So next week's topic is going to be a really good topic. You're going to want to show up for it. And I'm going to be announcing something very, very exciting. So if you really want to homeschool, if you really want the Charlotte Mason way, you need to be showing up next week, 1:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, because I'm going to be teaching a teacher's role in education. And at the end, I'm going to be announcing something very, very exciting, and you're going to want to be a part of that. And what's exciting about it is it's also free. So you want to be looking for that. So a teacher's role in education, I kind of shared with you that foundation of what it looks like, our aim and what we're supposed to be doing. But then I'm going in the nitty gritty of sharing with you the teacher's roles. And they're really different than what you might think today. And they're the start of giving your children ownership of their education. And it's a beautiful process. And what I find is when my Charlotte Mason mamas understand this and implement it, they immediately say, this does lead to smoother and easier days. And they're a breath of fresh air is what they say. So it's a very exciting. Lynn, since education is a life, what sort of things do you recommend continuing through the summer months when there's no school, and what does that look like? That's a really good question. So yeah, we focus on our electives in the summer in high school, and I know you have some high school children. And for us, it's skills, life skills and handicrafts. And like for summer, we've always focused on swimming. How can you become a faster swimmer, a better swimmer, holding your breath across the length of the swimming pool, being able to dive all the way down to the deepest level of the pool, being able to gather more of the toys that we might throw at the bottom. Developing those skills, being able to tread water, being able to dive off the diving board. These are the skills we focus on all summer long. Riding your bike longer, being able to climb trees, being able to just be kids and using their body, carving your walking sticks, anything that's you can do outdoors, anything that is different than books, although we continue. In fact, my almost 18-year-old is reading right now. My 10-year-old already read this morning. Practicing your instruments, practicing writing skills. I mean, if you have a child who loves to write, who loves art, giving those opportunities. The opportunities are there. They're everywhere. You just need to think about it a little bit more and think, how can we improve on what we're doing, and how can we make it more of skills for our children? So Mary says, I have a first, third, eighth grade. And am I too late for the eighth grader in self-education? No, you're not. In fact, I would highly recommend that you focus on it, because self-education is easy to teach, especially when you have a reader and a writer. When those skills are required to be self-educating. But once they have that and you've done your due diligence to make sure that you're planning a delightful curriculum that's full of wholesome curriculum that breeds those ideas that you would want them to have, and then construct your home atmosphere in a way that would lead to them being able to understand what education looks like and empowering them in that way. Self-education is easy. Your eighth grader will love it. All the older kids that have this method put into them, they love it. They really do. So better late than never, and that is not too late. Yes, a street rat, it is cool. And the more you think about how you can make education a part of your life, the more it's going to be. And I have some really exciting things to share with you guys next week about the roles of a teacher. It looks completely different. You're going to see why this education really produces different results, is because it starts and looks completely different. So you're going to want to be there. So I'll see you next week at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. And thank you for interacting. And if you know someone who would benefit from this, I encourage you to share the video with them, either tag them or share it on your profile. All right, y'all, have a wonderful day, and have a wonderful time celebrating your fathers this weekend. Bye for now.